Was a Tumblr valuation of $1 billion a precursor for its sell-off? Does the fascination with cassette tapes have more to do with novelty than quality? Have marketers lost the plot of exactly what it is they are paid to do? We'll dive into these topics and more on the Business News Podcast at the intersection of marketing, technology, media, and pop culture. It's called Disruptive FM. Roll the title.
It's Disruptive FM. Disruptive FM. Disruptive FM. Welcome to Disruptive FM, where business and culture collide. Sponsored by Microsoft and Branding Strategy Insider. With your host, Jeffrey Colon.
Okay, here we go.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Disruptive FM, episode 51. I'm Jeffrey Colon, head of brand studio for Microsoft Advertising, about to dissect 3 trending topics and shed some light on why marketing needs, well, some marketing with the always insightful Mark Ritson. It's going to melt your headphones. So let's get to it. Here are 3 more trends coming at you.
Here are this week's trending topics. Tumblr Tumbles.
Tumblr was one of the most popular destinations on the web in 2007. The microblogging platform was awesome because it was designed, well, around creativity, and porn, and it put an emphasis on reblogging others' content. In 2013, during peak Tumblr, the platform sold to Yahoo for $1 billion. With some tweaks, our thinking here at DFM is the platform could have been more relevant than Facebook or Instagram. But last week, Verizon just sold Tumblr to the parent company of WordPress.com for $3 million. That's with an M. So how did the site that once boasted more users than Instagram and Pinterest fall so sharply from grace? In the past year, Tumblr's traffic fell over 40%, with many attributing the exodus to Verizon's attempt to remove adult material from the site. The sort of hybrid blog meets social network that was once a meme palooza allowed users to post adult content, and often anonymously. Tumblr also struggled with going mobile. Mobile user interface was mandatory, yet Tumblr's mobile app was clunky, hard to navigate, and probably led many to ditch for the easier-to-use Instagram. Then in 2017, CEO and founder David Karp decided to leave. We could see the writing on the wall here. Whenever a founder leaves, it usually means they hate the corporate parent. So what is the learning from all of this? While many put on their shades because they see the big dollar valuation, we need to see through all the shiny, bright items and continue to ask if these valuations are really real. I mean, just because the price tag says $1 billion doesn't mean it's worth $1 billion. And unfortunately, we think there will be more Tumblrs tumbling along the way as digital goes through a .com version 2 currently.
Trending topics on DFM. Rewind the tape.
We're on a huge retro trend right now in 2019. Maybe we should rename the year 1979, especially when reading a report that a technology that was hot in 1979 is hot again. We're talking about the cassette tape. Yes, that hissing sound piece of garbage that would tear and rip and cause headaches because you would lose the latest recording of Hot 97 FM. Well, we're here to tell you it's back again. But it's less about the sound than the culture. In this digital throwaway world we now inhabit, cassette tapes are fascinating again because they were the original social media. Many of us found potential mates and partners by giving them mixtapes to listen to, and seeing if interests aligned. They are the original curation vehicle, and that you could collect and recollect by taping over and over again new collections to share. And they were the original word of mouth, and that when one caught fire, well, they really caught fire and the whole neighborhood knew about it. There is something to say about our fondness for the physical. We can feel it, touch it, and hand it over to someone who feels as if they are receiving a gift, even if that gift sounds like shit.
Trending topics on DFM. Marketing EQ.
We live and breathe marketing here on DFM. Surprisingly, marketing has, well, a marketing problem. More and more, we see chief marketing officers wanting to change their title to something like chief experience officer, chief customer officer, or chief growth officer. But are all these name changes just a bunch of bollocks for the fact marketing pros are afraid to do what they've been hired to do, which is marketing? Mark Ritson, adjunct professor at Melbourne University in Australia, is one of the big experts of how marketing should work. And his practical advice is always seen by too many in marketing as contrarian. But that's because of all the talk on how marketing has changed. But has it really? Mark and I get down to the nitty-gritty of why marketing should keep its title. Let's take a listen.
So the first way to fix it is to get better people in CMO roles, and we do have some good ones, but we also have a lot of ones that frankly let the team down. The second problem we've got is a lot of CMOs and marketers are superficial and frankly not very good. And so what they've done, and we've seen this, you've talked about it yourself, is we've seen the CMO discussion being, should we call it a chief growth officer? Should we call it a chief commercial officer? Chief customer officer? And the point is, it doesn't matter. CFOs aren't spending their time going, I think I'll change my title to Chief Finance Supremo. They're just a CFO. So it's pathetic, and we are our own worst enemies.
All right, so there's another article staying on this topic around CMOs splitting into two now, where you actually have companies saying, okay, we have a person who's going to handle more of the, maybe the creative and more of the agency relationship, and then we're going to have a person who's going to handle the technical side. I mean, we don't see CEOs splitting into two. We don't have two presidents of a country. Why is this happening, and what would you say to companies that are looking to split into two?
Look, at the end of the day, you want a single CMO. And that CMO has a lot of different duties. Clearly, they need a giant team in a big multinational underneath them. But to your point, a CEO seems to be able to handle running the whole show. So why are we splitting this role up all of a sudden? Probably the best example is the newly departed Keith Weed, who ran a giant marketing operation at Unilever. Somehow Keith was able to manage the technology part of it, to manage the customer part of it, the growth part of it, the sales part of it, the retail part of it, and the media part of it. And, Pritchard at P&G is another notable example. They're very special people, but, there's more of them. So I think that we're so busy changing the role, changing the title, splitting it up. Get on with the job. And you come to these marketing conferences, and all people want to talk about is anything except marketing. Get on with the job. It's not easy, but it's not that hard.
Marketing is marketing because it takes something to market. That's Mark Ritson, adjunct professor at Melbourne University in Australia and marketing contrarian.
It's Disruptive FM.
Communications.
The Business Culture Podcast.
They say if you listen closely, you can hear the sound of today.
Hey, it's Disruptive FM, the culture of business. I'm Jeffrey Colon. Hope you're having a great week. We would love to connect with you. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Disruptive FM. And connect with me personally on Twitter and Instagram at DJGeoffe. Big shout out to our sponsor partners, Microsoft Advertising, Intelligent Connections. Connect meaningfully with the people who matter to you. Microsoft Advertising provides intelligent solutions that empower you to deliver engaging, personalized experiences that value people. Learn more at microsoftadvertising.ai. And Branding Strategy Insider. Branding Strategy Insider serves 50,000 plus senior level marketers, CMOs, and business decision makers daily, and is distributed by partners such as the Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, Google News, and Forbes. Branding Strategy Insider is the leading source for thought leadership in brand strategy and brand management. Learn more at brandingstrategyinsider.com. And Iographer. Iographer creates accessories for your mobile device to help you make better videos. Their specialty is the Iographer case, which I've been using myself for a long time. Their cases allow you to attach filmmaking accessories like microphones, tripods, and lenses, and help you to stabilize your video and look like a pro. And they won't bust your budget either. Learn more at iographer.com. In the background, new music from Moodena with a track called All That Jazz. It's out now on Tropical Disco Records. Check the link in our show description to listen to the tune in its entirety on Spotify.
Disruptive FM presents...
Stop! It's the motherfucking remix!
Everything is a remix.
So we've been fascinated with Visco girls. It's a subculture brought to life from TikTok and the internet, or so strategists would like you to believe. But when we diagnose Visco girls, we see a phenomenon brought to life more out of a love for retro novelty than for some internet application. The Visco girl, well, its look draws from both the 1980s, Valley Girl speak and scrunchies, the mid-1990s, oversized t-shirts, Vans, and backpacks with a dazed and confused aesthetic, and the early 2000s, the fascination with the Visco photo app, in which you can use filters to make all your photos appear analog or early digital. Research on the origination and remixes of trends, well, it's important. Because when we think of the concept of new ideas, we usually search for originality. Brand strategists usually flunk these tests, thinking the hottest and latest trend arrived out of nowhere because of a tech platform like a Snapchat or a TikTok. And they assume the trend is 100% original. Well, noting what we just said, Visco girls are not original. In fact, nothing is original. In this case, everything is a remix, or everything is a mashup. Okay, here are a few stories that are starting to create some buzz we think you might want to pay closer attention to. It's a segment called On the Radar.
Here's what's on our radar. Number 1.
IKEA is ramping up its digital offerings with a dedicated home smart unit. Its biggest new business since the introduction of children's IKEA. The Swedish furniture giant says it will invest significantly in the smart home market, having first launched its digital offerings in 2012. It has since introduced tables and lamps that can wirelessly charge phones, an audio collaboration with Sonos, and shortly, smart blinds. Roughly 830 million smart home devices are expected to be sold this year.
Number 2.
Tesla is relaunching its solar panel business, letting customers rent rooftop systems rather than buy them. CEO Elon Musk announced on Sunday, through a series of tweets, that residents in Arizona, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New Jersey, and New Mexico will be able to rent solar-powered systems for $50 a month and from $65 in California. Tesla acquired residential solar installer Solar City for $2.6 billion in 2016, but has since seen its share of the market plunge.
Number 3.
The owner of the Brooklyn Nets, yes, the NBA team, has sold full ownership of the Barclays Center, the home of the Brooklyn Nets, and his 51% controlling interest in the pro basketball team to Alibaba's co-founder. Yes, Joseph Tsai, TSAI, previously owned 49% of the Brooklyn-based NBA team and paid about $3.5 billion, including debt, for the remaining stake, plus the building. The previous record for a team sale was last year, when the Carolina Panthers were acquired for $2.2 billion. What does this mean? Well, the Nets will win an NBA championship long before the Knicks. All right, that's another wrap for us here at DFM, episode 51. Next week, Maeve Quarren, the CEO of Foresight Factory, joins us. Huge thanks to Mark Ritson. It was great to meet up in person down under. There are a lot of podcasts out there, and we truly appreciate you taking the time to check us out. Please help us grow by rating, reviewing, and subscribing to the show. We're on all the major podcast services: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, Spreaker, Stitcher, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and SoundCloud. And we're coming soon to Pandora. Once again, the socials, Twitter and Instagram at DisruptiveFM. And check out cool content from our 3 sponsors: MicrosoftAdvertising.ai, BrandingStrategyInsider.com, and iographer.com. Until next time, from everyone here at DFM, I'm Jeffrey Colon. We'll catch you next week.
You've been listening to Disruptive FM with Microsoft Communications designer Jeffrey Colon. All thoughts are his own. Disruptive FM is produced in Los Angeles by Feeler Media.